How do we do welcome? How far are we prepared to go to ensure that people feel really welcome and accepted into our congregation? What lengths would you be prepared to go to ensure that people felt at home? Would you be prepared to give up your pew to make space for them, to sit beside them and help them understand what the service was all about? How far would you be prepared to go to help those who are from a different background to integrate and feel accepted? Those from perhaps a different educational, social or cultural background, those from a different country or community. We have spoken to people who come from different countries and different backgrounds, different nationalities and cultures, and who become part of the Presbyterian Church, both north and south. And they have shared with us some of their experiences of what it's been like to be welcomed, accepted and integrated into the family of the Presbyterian Church.
My name is Adas. I come from Lithuania. I've been here 9 years in Ireland, and I'm a software engineer. The best experiences I've had in the church would be being part of youth group, probably, as a teenager, and then going to be a youth leader, one of the youth leaders, and it's just been great. I enjoyed that, and there's people on the rota that greet people at the door, I think they change every month, and so it's, that would be a good part of it, and the pastor is very welcoming of everyone.
My name is Theo Douglas. I'm from Nigeria. I've been fellowshipping here with the Drogheda Presbyterian Church since 2006. At the moment, I serve in the committee and I also serve as an elder in the church. I still remember my wife telling me, we have found a church that we should be going, and he said, one of the leaders will be coming to pay a visit. I wasn't sure what to expect. And then Billy walked in, Billy Patterson. And from talking to him, we just seemed to hit off right off. It's down to earth. There was no any air around him. It's somebody you could easily relate to. And I said, okay, if that's what it looks like, I'll go and see what others look like. And I came in, the atmosphere was good. The people were welcoming. I mean, there was warmness, genuine warmness about the people. And I got to meet Reverend John himself, and we talked at length, and I could see this is where we would like as a family to stay and to worship. Well, talking about home from home, it's all about the support which as immigrants we wouldn't have because we don't have our immediate families here. I still remember one of the members coming to me and my wife one day and asking, if you ever feel like leaving your kids with us, just for you to have some time off, we are always available. That was really touched me, because it's one thing we as immigrants will miss here. We don't have their grandmothers here and don't have the extended family here to support us in such areas. And so it's those little things that we will get from being in the midst of our family that we believe we'll be able to get in the church. For an immigrant, it goes more for us than just a place to worship. It's just a place where we get support, really.
My name is Stephen Gill, and I come from India. When we came here, it was a time when Christmas was being celebrated. It was November end, and we had a lot of activities in the church going on, and my children took part in a lot of activities. Besides other activities, I thought that I should be a part of the church, taking more activities in the church. So it went without saying that they came forward and told me that, okay, Stephen, can you help us in the communion, and can you help us in offerings? So these are the small things which made us, more comfortable coming forward and taking more active parts in the church, even Sunday schools and things like that. So I'm happy that I am one of the part of the Sunday school also. So that is really a good thing.
My name is Crispina Farmer, but everybody calls me Chris for short. So I came to Enniskillen to do my A-levels. I went to Portora Royal. I boarded there. And after that, after doing my A-levels, I got accepted into Queen's University, where I did accountancy and met my husband-to-be in Queen's. From the minute I think we joined Killinchie Presbyterian, there has always been that very much open arms welcome made, by everybody. The way I felt when I lost my dad last year, the sort of affection and comfort and just being there, that spiritualism that people have shown me just over that sort of last year has just been overpowering. And I don't think I have felt sort of God's sort of presence in any other situation, in any other church I had belonged to, the way I have felt when I have been in Killinchie.
My name is Donna Romero. I came from the Philippines and I arrived here March 2002. The best part of being part of this church is being accepted as you are, and they accept me where I come from, and they are also willing to learn from me and being able to be integrated in the Irish Presbyterian Church. All I can say is I just want to say thank you, especially for Abbey Church who accepted me. And sometimes I feel emotional because being away from home is not easy, but I could say this is my home away from home.
There is room at the table. Come, let us meet in this place with the King of all kindness who welcomes us in with the wonder of love and the power of grace. The wonder of
Are we prepared to ensure that people really feel accepted and welcomed? And are we prepared to change the way we do things and the way we think about things to ensure that that happens? Do we really value difference, or do we feel threatened by it? Do we value people from other cultures and backgrounds, or are we suspicious and unsure?
My name is Olga Nel. I am from Russia. Our experience of being welcomed in the Presbyterian Church of Ireland was very positive. The people have been extremely, extremely kind. What we didn't appreciate is the closeness of some churches and some communities, and the term blow-ins, really, we don't appreciate it. We were told that people who have been here for 30, even 50 years are still not part of the community. You have to be born, your parents, grandparents have to be born here, only then you are accepted. And that's what we didn't appreciate. People sometimes feel it's our church, like a family church. And sometimes they are not happy of new people coming to church. And so we had this young guy who had really troubled childhood, drugs and alcohol, and then he became a Christian, and he was very excited, and he joined us. And we were happy to see him in our church. But once he sat in front of two ladies, and they were very, very rude to him. They told him in a rude way to move because he's obstructing their view. But we've been blessed that we've been here for 3.5 years, and we feel so much part of the community of believers in our church. Very much loved and accepted. Very important, first of all, people standing at the doors, that they would be very smiling and warm and welcoming. This is the first barrier for people to go through who don't really know churches, don't really know church cultures. So I think that's important, not only to welcome at the door, but then that someone would be with you and also invite you for tea or coffee, and also not let you stand there on your own, because that can be the most lonely place to be alone in a big crowd, so that's important. Next thing what I would suggest, you see, that's more about welcoming, but to make people feel accepted, I think it's important to invite them to your homes, because then they would understand it's not superficial smiles. You want to know them better. You want them to be part of you. So I think that's very important. And they will also learn your background, and then when they come to church, at least they will be able to speak not only about the weather, but can ask, so how are you? How is your child? So I think that's also important. And maybe the last thing, maybe even to give them some role to play in the church, that they wouldn't be just feel they're visitors, but they would start to own it, and then it can bring the feeling of belonging. So I think that's the important elements from my experience.
I had a great story about a friend of mine who came to this church for the first time, and he had been to loads of different churches. And he was kind of saying in his head, thinking, churches aren't very friendly, very welcoming, but he'd come to try Fitzroy. And one of the things that happened was he sat down, someone welcomed him, which was great, and he felt welcomed, and he got to his seat. And as the church finished, someone asked him if they were new, and they said yes, but it wasn't very hopeful. And the next sentence, someone said, "Would you like to come for lunch?" And he was amazed, because that's the first time he walked into the church, and someone invited him for lunch. And that's his story about him coming into this church for the first time. I guess that for me, that's a benchmark. How can we improve or do things that are similar to that, where people come into the church that are new, and we show them that this is a welcoming place by actions. So I'm not saying we invite every newcomer for lunch, but it would be nice if there was a token of this is a place where people build relationships, and we do that over food or walks or coming to events, and we'd love to see you come along.
Come to the feast, there is room.